Hello there. Good morning, everyone. Susan Brennan here for our weekly episode of Growth and Grace. And today is kind of a continuation of our little episode last week. So if you have not watched last week's episode, that's fine. I'll give you a quick recap, but you can go back and watch the whole thing if you want. Basically, this last Thursday, I was kind of a little bit in shock and still reeling from a friend breakup. If you've ever been through a friend breakup, you know it can be really awful and really painful. And this one in particular felt incredibly out of the blue. Like, what is going on? What in the world? And just really some behaviors that felt incredibly out of character for this other person that was involved. And it was, just completely out of the blue. So all of that said, this last Thursday then, I did my Facebook Live and I went to women's prayer at my church, which every Thursday at 7 a.m., ladies, if you want to join in San Diego, it's so good. And I still was just like really feeling heavy about it because it was like one of my best friends and we'd been friends for years and like, what is going on? And then I really felt at prayer like I don't feel good about how we had parted ways. Like our last phone conversation, we tried to communicate through things and then it just didn't end well. And there was a lot of hurt and a lot of broken trust. So I was like, I don't even want to try to communicate with this person anymore. Like, it's not working. It's not effective. They're not hearing me. Like all the things that you go through when you're grieving. And I felt so strongly that I needed to approach the situation with gratitude. And I say that, and you guys hear me talk about gratitude, and I'm a huge believer in it. And there are times where when it comes down to choosing gratitude, it's really hard. Like, it's really hard. And I could feel my ego was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We've been hurt. We've been put through the ringer. This person broke trust. This person's like all the things of why I don't want to be grateful for this person or this situation or this whole experience of like loss. Like, I don't want to be grateful for that. So I was resistant to it. And I'm sitting at prayer and I'm like, just really trying to, I'm sure you're familiar with this, think about just about anything else, because I don't like the feeling of heaviness and just like sadness and sorrow and loss and grief and all those, like, I don't particularly like those feelings. So I was trying to think of just about anything else. But when you're in it, it was so surrounding every thought. Like anything that I would think of would remind me of a memory of this person, or any direction I would go would like trigger like, oh, then when they said that in the conversation, it was so hurtful. Like anything was bringing me back to this thing. And so this thing is what obviously needed some attention and some love. So gratitude was the answer. So I came home and I'm sharing this with you because it's incredibly effective. And having just walked through like a really intense experience just this last week, to feel already so much healing and so much freedom from it. And it hasn't changed. Like the situation remains, the friend breakup still on. Like it's not a different scenario, but because I approach it with gratitude, it's different. So here's what I did, because it wasn't just like, oh, think grateful thoughts. Okay, great. It was a very intentional choice. And the way I chose to approach it and what that translated to for me was writing a letter of gratitude. Like I got out an actual note card and an actual an actual pen to write down. And I filled that thing with gratitude for this person, for the things that I really am grateful for this person. And trust, there were so many situations while I was writing where I had to say, don't write that. Like little like, yeah, I'm grateful for this, but I'm sad that I didn't feel it in our last phone call. Like, nope, no, this is only gratitude. So it was an entire letter filled of everything, all the things I was appreciative of over the years, all the things I was grateful for, like speaking into who this person really is. Because, and I don't know if you've ever experienced that with someone. Last week during the friend, like it was like a flip had been switched and they did a 180 and they were a different person. Like, so it was so bizarre, you guys. And I say that because I think at some point we have been that person where people would look and be like, what is going on? Because something's going on in our life, in our world, like it's bringing stuff up, it's bubbling stuff up from our past, it's bringing up past pains, past wounds. Like when you're in the healing process, it can be really, really ugly, and that can spew over on other people. So I don't know what caused all of that. We didn't talk through that because we were just like trying to figure out our friendship. But like hurt people, right? And so in all of that, there's still, I have years of experience with this person. I know who they really are. And this whole thing from this last week is not who they really are. So this letter was speaking to who they genuinely are, like who they truly are at their core. And grateful for, you know, all the different experiences we've had over the years. And so I filled that letter out. And in my head, it was going to be just a really good exercise for me to like actually take the time to handwrite out. I'm normally a typer. I'm not a big journaler. So if I ever do journaling or I'm gonna like process through something in a written format, I type it because I'm a faster typer than I am a writer. And in my head, I decided, okay, I'm gonna do, and I say in my head, it wasn't a heart choice. It was a head, like I had to mentally decide to do this, even though my heart was feeling so much pain and hurt and anger and frustration and like broken trust, hurt, like all the things. And so I chose to write this, and I hand wrote it out because it actually really allowed me to think at a deeper level and to really go there and to take my time and being so intentional. So I filled the whole letter, and then I had to get a whole new sheet of paper to continue because I just wanted it to be so thorough and so like think through every single thing I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for this, and I appreciate this, and just really honoring that person in that way, even though there were plenty of other things I wanted to also say. So I really want to highlight that. Yes, there was gratitude, and there is gratitude, and it was very real and genuine. There were plenty of other things that my ego wanted to address in the letter because I felt wronged, I felt hurt, I felt betrayed, I felt all these things. I'm like, I didn't appreciate how it was handled on their side. Like all of these different scenarios that I could have, well, and when you said this, it made me think, like I could have gone into all these different things, none of which would have served the purpose of like cleaning out that wound to start letting it heal. Gratitude helps clean out wounds and allows them to start to heal. And that's what we want. I don't want to live with open wounds, festering wounds full of gunk. I want to heal. And it's a painful process. It can be really, really messy. And it's such a healthy approach. It's a way healthier approach to live like that. And I've lived other ways of not addressing pain and just kind of covering it up and like, I'm good, I'm fine, everything's great. Meanwhile, inside it's just like bubbling up like messes after messes because I'm not fine and things are not great, but I'm not allowing the wounds to air out and heal. So I share all of this because what I ended up doing was actually mailing the letter. Like I actually sent it to him. And that was like, if you guys have ever taken a very tangible step like that, I wasn't planning to tell them that I was writing this letter. I wasn't going to send them a text and be like, hey, FYI, I'm grateful for you, and I just wrote a whole letter to tell you. I no, like, communication had ended, and I'd actually ended up blocking the person because they were sending really nasty messages. And I'm like, I don't really want to receive these anymore, so no thank you. And I didn't want to open that back up. So I mailed the letter on Thursday. And it was so this whole thing kind of happened on Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday being the last conversation. And then Thursday morning is when I came back from women's prayer and wrote the letter and mailed it off. And I am telling you, it was amazing how much and here's the thing. I knew this person was going to be in like out of commission, I guess, for like, they were going to be traveling for a whole weekend. So I knew that they weren't going to be getting it likely until the next week. And I didn't ask them to confirm if they received it, and I didn't put tracking on it or anything. Like, I don't know. And if you guys watched my Facebook Live from, I don't know, a month or so ago, when I got my returned letter from 3 months ago, like, you don't always know if things reach the person or not. So I didn't know. I was trusting. It was a really helpful exercise for me to just write out the gratitude and be like actively in that space of being grateful for this person. And it just so happened this person did receive my letter, and they acknowledged it, and it shifted their approach. Like, they came to me and like, thank you for the letter. I got your letter. And then, it still is not fixed. Like, it didn't just solve everything. So I don't want to give you the false impression that, say thank you for whatever, and it's just going to go away, because that's not how it works. But it totally shifted my heart to allow even an ounce of grace for that person, because I, quite honestly, am still feeling like, I don't really want to talk to you. Like, I do not appreciate how that was handled. And it allowed for me to actually hear their version of an apology of what they're capable of doing right now. It allowed me to really actually hear that, and to hear that they were thankful for the gratitude letter. So all of this said, I say this because there's very likely a situation in your life that you've either gone through or that you will go through, or maybe you're currently in it, where gratitude feels incredibly stretchy, and it would be way easier to just wash your hands and say, I'm out, I'm done, I'm not touching that anymore. That's how I felt like in my heart. That's what I felt like doing. Like, just get it away from me. I don't want to deal with that. Is ugly. It's an ugly situation. It doesn't feel good. That's not what's going to heal, though. So I challenge you, or I invite you, however you want to say it, to really lean into that situation, get uncomfortable, and you're going to need to set your ego aside. My ego had all sorts of things that she wanted to say in that letter, all sorts of things she wanted to chime in and help with. And I had to shut her up. I had to silence her while I was writing, because that wasn't the purpose. The purpose was to start the healing process, and that's from a pure gratitude standpoint. So whatever you're going through, whatever feels like that, get it away from me scenario, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you take time to actually physically, like, get a pen and actually write out what you are grateful for in that scenario, whether it's a person that you met because of that scenario, whether it's, a life lesson that you now know because of that scenario. And, I know, owning a business, I've been screwed over by clients before, where I did the work and didn't get paid. Like, now I know. Now I take payments up front. Like, there's just things that you learn along the way that were painful lessons to learn, but now you know. So even if that's the thing that you learned, even if it was a painful lesson, if you learned something, that's what you can be grateful for. Like, whatever whatever you're going through, I highly encourage you to choose gratitude and to actually write it out. And if it is from a very pure standpoint, if it's really genuine and it's about another person, you could send it to them. You could. It could be that thing, and you may never get a response. They may not appreciate the time and energy and love that went into it. They may not reach out, but at the end of the day, it's not about their response to it. It's about your process of going through that, right? We've all heard the, anger or bitterness or frustration or whatever is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die, right? And this like unforgiveness and anything that's kind of festering, that is, it's your wound that's festering on your heart. So if you don't address it, it's not making the other person sick. You're the one that's going to deal with it. So I very much would love to see you take that and actually start the healing process through gratitude. Start cleaning out that frustration and the bitterness and the resentment and the anger and the unforgiveness and all that junk, because it's only weighing you down. It's not impacting the other person. As much as sometimes we would love for them to really get how much they hurt us or how much, how much pain was in that situation for us, they might not ever get it. And they might be, and you might not want to hear this, but they might already be in such pain that it's not going to like make a difference to them. Like they might already be so hurting. Hurt people. They might already be so heavy burdened with pain that they're not going to be able to even acknowledge that they have hurt so many other people because of that. So I'm not justifying their behavior. I'm not saying what they did was right or okay, or that it shouldn't have hurt you. I want to highlight that. And I've been the hurt person who's hurt people before. So, and I'm sure even in this situation, even though I'm experiencing pain, I'm sure I brought pain to the situation too. So it takes multiple people. So what we can do is control our own approach, and we can come to the situation with our own healing method. And for me, I found gratitude to be excessively helpful for that. And I can speak from a really like, wow, that burden, yeah, there's still pain there. It's not totally healed, but there's so much less restrictive, constrictive, like, I'm just so angry. Like, it's not that. It's just like, yeah, it kind of sucks because, we were really close friends, and we get to move through it, and I'm thankful. So all of that said, choose gratitude and know that it's like a very, very intentional choice that you have to make over and over through the process. Each time I went to write something in the letter, I had to check myself. Is this actually gratitude, or is this kind of a nudge of like, yeah, but you still suck? Because that's not helpful. So you got to keep choosing it, keep choosing it, keep choosing it. Have that be your filter. Like, am I being grateful right now? If not, shift. What can you be grateful for right now? And allow yourself to start there. So all of that said, I will see you guys next week, every Thursday, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. And until then, enjoy a beautiful day and practice gratitude. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.